Good day, everyone, to our beloved students and to 41,000 viewers of our channel. This is your professor, Dr. A.P. Santua. I am a civil engineer. I am industrial engineer. I am an electrical engineer. I am a mechanical engineer and also a production engineer in Japan. We will go through the topic of transportation engineering, which is more related to civil engineering than anything else. It is also related to mechanical, but those mechanical parts are the dynamic part, the moving parts. So we will give a clear discussion later on in this topic. What we are going to do is to give you an idea what transportation engineering is all about. So let's proceed. Our discussion today will focus on the following. What is an engineer? Different types of engineer. How about civil engineers, transportation engineers, their kind of education, and what solutions they do make, and the environment and the site transportation planning, which are related to the design, in particular, of transportation aspect of civil engineering. So let us start with the first topic. What is an engineer? Because our subject is transportation engineering, we have to define those root words. Transportation, engineering, and the root word of engineering is engineer. What is an engineer? Engineers are trained to be problem solvers. So this is the idea that attracted me to study more and more about engineering. So because I am previously inclined with social science, social studies, when I found out that engineers could solve real life problems, so I became attracted to the idea and took up several engineering courses. So this idea of helping others by using engineering background for the betterment of their living condition, by producing more efficient and quicker and less expensive solutions. So these are the characteristics of an engineer. Engineers apply those knowledge that they gain from school, basically math and science. That's why we are taking STEM subject in high school to create something of value from natural resources. So from natural, we use the natural resources to be our raw materials to produce a product that could potentially help make a comfortable living out of it for the benefit of mankind. There are several types of engineers. Just I've mentioned, I am about 8 times of engineer. I studied about 8 different disciplines. In the Philippines alone, there are about 20 different types of engineers. And out of it, there are 12 different types of engineers with license. They are licensed by the government. Okay? So what are those? So we have chemical engineers. They take board exam to become a license. We have agricultural engineers. We have aeronautical engineers. So different aspects of engineering. Chemicals, solution, chemical design, those are the area of chemical engineers. Agriculture, area of agricultural engineers. Aeronautical, those are related to aviation and airplanes. Okay? And marine engineers, those are related to shipping, ships. Okay? Electrical engineer, those are related to providing sufficient, reliable, and efficient power source in our buildings, in our infrastructure. Those are belonging to the electrical engineers. Electronics engineers are those types of engineers which mostly design communications, logic, and low power type of gadgets, but high technology gadgets that also eases our difficulties in everyday living, like cell phone is an electronic product designed by electronics engineer, okay? In cooperation with computer engineers. So the next one is computer engineers. They also design, but more on hardware and software part of the system. Mechanical engineers are mainly present in almost all aspects of our lives. For example, in this room, we have air conditioning, we have electric fans. Those are mechanical products that are designed by mechanical engineers. Metallurgical engineers, they are related to the production of highly usable metals. Okay? So, changing the characteristic of raw material to highly engineered type of material. More on metal, so more on iron and alloys. So, another one is geodetic engineer, is more on measurements, creating surveys and quantity computation, locating topological characteristic and traits of our surface of the earth, even the below the sea level. So they are measuring, locating important points as references, or boundaries of countries, or boundaries even of individual properties on a small scale level. Industrial engineers are more on designing procedure, aspects that are related to human being. How can we produce a design or policy that would enable our manpower to work proficiently, to work effectively, to develop themselves into highly skilled workforce that are needed in our industry. Sanitary engineers are public health solvers. They take note of benefits on health and welfare of communities. So, for example, nowadays we have pandemic of COVID-19. So, if you are somebody who contracted the disease of COVID-19, definitely you are going to a doctor. But before you are going to a doctor, we need something that are designed by engineers, like what I am having right now. I have a mask, I have a face shield. So those products are designed by sanitary engineers. They are for health concerns. Simple face mask, simple face shield enable us to work daily, even though we are still under pandemic. So those are the concerns of sanitary, so that we eliminate or we minimize the health problems of the community. Okay, mining engineer are those type of persons that are related to different mining of resources, like metals, like precious stones, and so on. Even the raw materials like mining of coal, something. So they are interested on the design and how to efficiently convert the uh, source of natural resources into raw material. So after we have the raw material, then the metallurgical engineer would process it. Then from metallurgical engineer, we will have the mechanical engineer who will use that. Okay. So and the last but not the least, we have civil engineers in the Philippines. In this lineup of list, we only have computer engineers and industrial engineers who do not have board exam. The rest have board exam. And because they have board exam, they have license. Okay? So civil engineers, for example, have board exam twice a year. Okay, sorry about that. Let us continue. Civil engineers have about 6 in the Philippines, about 6 specializations, like energy and environment, like construction engineering, water resources and hydraulics engineering, and geotechnical engineering, and transportation engineering. So let us go to this list of the what I have said. So one of which is transportation engineering. So transportation profession in the Philippines. So we have a list of transportation mode of transportation. Okay, in the Philippines, we are familiar with this. You know this already, but we are confirming your guess. Okay, so SUVs, for example, school bus, sports car, snowmobile. So this is not available in the Philippines. We do not have snow. Van, agricultural equipment or automobiles, and trucks, agricultural implements. Okay, police car, RV. You will notice there are some like trains. Okay, trains, you will see about 4 different types of trains in that picture. Okay, and you will also see at the center we have bicycle and balloon. So nowadays, bicycle is a very good mode of transportation because of the pandemic. Okay, we have difficulty in traveling through other modes of transportation because of a required policy on social distancing, and therefore we are more flexible using bicycle. You also note the one below bicycle is balloon. Okay, in other countries, balloon transportation is allowed and actually commercialized. Okay? However, in the Philippines, balloon are for exhibit purposes and for show. We have there in Subic, we have balloon festival and balloon competition, Subic. So I think it is yearly. So last year, it was not held because of, again, the problem on COVID-19. So another one is cable car, which you may say that we don't have in the Philippines. We have cable car in the Philippines, but it is not public transport. It is for what? For tourism kind of thing, rather than public transport, like in Singapore. So we have an efficient cable car, public transportation in Singapore. Okay? So in other countries, those are needed. Okay? So let us proceed. We know what are engineers. What about transportation kind of engineers? What do transportation engineers do? Okay. In the other countries, you notice they have a separate discipline, which is called individually transportation engineers, separate from civil engineers. But in the Philippines, we do not have those, and just like what I've said, transportation engineers are a subset of civil engineers. If you are licensed civil engineers, in the same manner, you are considered as licensed transportation engineers. Transportation engineers are, however, making a difference all around us because of those mode of transportation. We will expound on that. Okay? So, there are about 3 types of railway transportation mode from the previous slide. So, we have here the conventional train that we are using from Tutuban to Alabang, going through Bicol, and they are heavily mechanical in nature. I am talking of the transportation mode, okay? And the next one on the on your left is the LRT system. So we have several lines of LRT system. So about 3. We have 3 lines of LRT system currently, and there are about 2 lines that are simultaneously developing and soon to be operational. And on your lower portion, we have the bullet train or high-speed trains. So we do not have those in the Philippines. So we have those types in advanced and industrialized countries like Europe and Japan. We have those in Japan. We have those in China. We have those in Korea. Okay? And the number 1 and leading country pertaining to high-speed train is Japan. No? They have the fastest high-speed train, which is, according to them, they call it bullet train. They call those bullet train. I happen to experience bullet train in Japan. About 200 kilometers was only traveled by bullet train in about 1 hour. In about 1 hour. At average speed, not full speed. If that is full speed, it is even lesser. It could be about 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. Imagine from Manila to Bicol, you can only spend 1 hour. Imagine. Right now, the fastest is 8 hours from Manila to Bicol. Imagine that. Or from Manila to Ilocos, no? Pagudpud. From Manila to Pagudpud. Imagine if you can travel that in 1 hour. Right now, we are traveling that in 7 hours or 6 hours. Okay? So that is a very good type of transportation. What kind of example are those? These 3. These 3 represents railway transportation. Okay? Railway transportation. So those pictures are somewhat mechanical in nature, but the transportation engineer side are the railings. Those railroads are the transportation engineering design. Okay? You might think that, very easy to design that. Just lay down the materials and it can be used by, take note, we have a problem in LRT system. We have several cars, brand new cars, but we cannot use because of problem on the railroads. Okay? It is being designed. It is not just laying down of railroad system. The type of hardness and the tensile strength of the railroad is a different character compared to similarly featured type of iron or steel. Okay, what about this? These are called surface engineering. They are roads, bridges, okay, infrastructure, okay, skyway. And together with the railroad system, these are called surface system, surface transportation system, okay, network system. So building this type of complicated network of skyway. Also, 1 month ago, we have an accident happened somewhere in Muntinlupa where the construction of skyway had an incident wherein a beam, a heavy beam, fell down on the moving traffic below. So there are fatalities and damage to lives and properties. Okay? So it's very difficult. It's a difficult thing to do. It's not just laying down the steel, laying down the concrete. They are being designed properly. Okay? And yet, there are accidents happening. So it's not, what more if there are no design and we are just banking on trial and error and experience. Okay? You can consider that. Okay? So these are now the area of transportation engineers. How to do this? Take note, on the left side and on the right side, you can compare. After 1 month of usage, your railway system will look like on the left side. And therefore, your design is not worth it. It should be having a life cycle of 30 years or 50 years. If it is about 3 years and your railway system looks like this, then it's not good for, it is good for nothing type of design. So how you design that? So that is a material design that is involved here. Okay? All of the all of the possible factors should be taken into account, like this one. These are the air transportation wherein we have to land the helicopters, airplanes, and so on. And because of that, we have, since we have different types of air vehicles, so we have different design of airports. Obviously, helicopters do not have or do not require long runways, while airplanes requires long runways. And depending on the model and type of airplanes, we may need longer runways, we may need wider runways, and you don't know about this, we need different thickness of those. Imagine the heavier planes that could land on that runway, the thicker the runways. Okay? So, it may look like the same, but the thickness under the ground are different. Okay? What will happen if one 777 airplane land and your runway break down into gravel? What happened? It became what? Disposable, and the budget for that airport is billions of pesos. So take note of that. We are taking note of the type of load, of the type of machine that would be used on above the surface. So those are for airports, very critical application. And also, the most critical one are seaport design. So imagine that a single carrier could be about one barangay or one municipality in sheer size. What will happen if you will what? You will tie the ship into your into a shipyard with what? With foundation that is not able to withhold the weight of the ship. Okay, your seaport will be what? Will be dragged towards the ocean. That's what will happen. So this seaport must be stable enough, must be solid enough that any amount of shipload or anyway, the design of ship depends also on the type of ship that will go to that seaport. We are thinking of specific kind of loads. Okay, so these are some traffic signals that are. If you are wondering, you are able to experience some warning signs like this. For example, if you hit this sign, you will hit that bridge. That is a warning, so that you will avoid accident like on the right side or in a trailer or van, a very long truck, no? Was not able to pass the bridge and actually hit, and it may break the bridge. And together with the damage to your own property, the bridge may be damaged. So, and what is the amount of that bridge? It may amount to millions, 100 millions of pesos. Okay, so 25 mph pertains to the speed. On your left side, yes, your car can go that slow. So if you are being warned to go slow, something like this. So there are ingenious way of giving warnings. You know, potholes ahead when there are several potholes on the road, along the road. No swimming, no fishing, and one viral FB post would remind you of an engineer planting small plants and vegetable along the potholes of the roads. So those are funny happenings. Your GPS is wrong, road closed. So that is usually the case. We are depending on ways. No trespassing, violators will be shot, and survivors will be shot again. Okay? So and this is I think the last. Okay. So what is transportation all about? We showed the streets, we showed highway, we showed different types of transport system that allow people and goods to move safely and efficiently. Those are the backbone for a strong economy and key contributor in a quality of life. Okay? How many types of transportation can you name? May I ask you? Write down on the comment below and write one or two example Instead of writing down on a piece of paper, write down on the comment below and show your idea. So we have, for example, city, subway system. We are having our first subway in the Philippines. In a few months or few years, we will have operational subway system in the Philippines. Okay? We have a Japanese contractor who are expert in making subway in Japan. We have in Metro Manila. Okay? City transport, buses. Okay? Obviously, the transportation civil infrastructure design is different in a subway system and the city transport system. Okay? Surface modes, just like what we have said several slides ago. Okay? These are the modes of transportation that could possibly deliver goods and people from one location to another. Okay? And freight system, meaning the main products are goods, okay, for the running of the economy, providing goods and services. Okay? Trucks and railroads, ships. Those are the cheapest type of transportation. That's why they are obviously designed for bulk transport of goods and services. Okay? Not for individual person or retail. Okay? More on wholesale and bulk products. Okay? Air transportation, again, for dual purpose of moving people from one point to another, and also along with it, the goods. Okay? Smaller ones that are not cheaper or sensitive ones that are not possible in shipping. So we are using air transport rather than ship or seaport. Okay? Creation, expansion of business and industry. Okay? And what about for water transportation? We have primarily for freight movement, just like we have said, bulk commodities with low cost per unit. Those are the main characteristic of shipping. Okay? And for our country, national system, we have waterways, mainly Pasig River. We have a current usage of Pasig River as mode of transporting people and goods. Okay? Lakes, okay? The back and forth of along the Pasig River. The endpoints are the lakes, Laguna Lake and the Manila Bay. No? So, oceans, ports. Okay? So we have interesting statistic. Okay? So on the graph, we can see that Manila or Metro Manila is about 50%, 100% over the average when we are talking of what? Number of years we lost in the name of traffic. Okay? 9 to 15 years of our lives are lost due to traffic. Okay? According to scientific estimate. Okay? Imagine that if my life would be 70 years old, then minus 10, so I will live just up to 60 years old because 10 years will be lost for traffic. Okay? So cities with worse traffic congestion, you will notice that Philippines or Metro Manila is second in the world. We are second in the world. Number one is Moscow. Mumbai, Bogota, and Manila are tied for second place. On the right side, Filipinos spend 16 days a year stuck in traffic. We are losing 16 days per year for traffic alone in Metro Manila. Okay? So what are the solutions? So therefore, we should optimize the use of infrastructure, construct new facilities, more widespread use of advanced technology, like what? Bullet train, yung subway system. Subway system because we can use the ground above the subway for, again, transportation without losing space, no? Subway, bullet train. We have to install more and more facilities like LRTs. So those are the type of solution in a highly urbanized Metro Manila area. Okay? Of course, it is easier said than done because the planning and design would cost us so much time and effort when we are talking about Metro Manila traffic situation. For example, just looking at the statistic, we are going to what? Go through all of these things, all of this list. Okay? Air transport, marine transport, railway transport, road transport. Those are the agencies that we need to ask for data in order to what? Have a scientific perspective of what is the real problem, what is the real situation. Because without knowing the real situation, how can we solve the problem? Without the details of the problem. Okay? So, just asking all of this is too much work to be done. Okay? And these are examples of transportation engineers, career. For example, we need to study mathematics, science, physics, and civil engineering or engineering subjects when we are planning to go to transportation engineering career. What do we have here? In order to provide for safe, efficient, rapid, comfortable, convenient, economical, and environmentally compatible movement of people, take note of the different aspects that you have to consider in designing a simple infrastructure. Okay? So we are what? Data-driven design. It is not a guesswork, just laying down a road. Okay? It is a sub-discipline of civil engineering. What is that? Transportation engineering is, and is a major component of civil engineering and mechanical engineering. So, in real life, as a manager, you are half civil engineer, half industrial engineer. And in technical aspect, you are half civil engineer, half mechanical engineer. So this is what? This field is actually multidisciplinary type of area. Okay? So what else? We need to be able to communicate well, write well, and solve problems efficiently. We will not have more difficulty on this type because we are trained as an engineering student to solve problems. However, our problems would be creativity and integrity. We should allow some area for creativity and integrity in our design. Okay? And if you are somebody who are not decided yet on what type of specialization you have to go through, and even if you are already in civil engineering study and still have thinking about what specialty do you like in your career later on, you have to ask yourself first why you have to take engineering. What is the reason? What is the main purpose? You want to build and help others, help the community creatively, and use the latest technology out there, travel, and high demand work. However, nowadays in the Philippines, it is high demand work, but there are so many engineers in the Philippines that they are fighting, for example, 20 engineers fighting for a single job. So maybe you have to think of the specialization and one of the most non-popular specialty. The most popular one is structural engineering, but the non-popular one is transportation engineering. There are very few who go to this line of work. That's why the demand for transportation engineering is okay. The supply and demand of manpower, of engineer skill is just okay. Good living condition. There are engineers who may debate about it, but anyway, those are true around the world. But in the Philippines, those are debatable still. Okay? And that is our last slide. And this is for question and answer. And we will not have question and answer. Instead, you have to post your questions on the remarks box below. And we'll try to get back on you and answer all your inquiries. Okay? So thank you very much. And again, this is your Professor, Dr. A.P. Zantua, your Zamurai Engineer at your service.